Good evening. Welcome to From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown, and today's guest is Mrs. Dionne Mccollum. Ms. Dionne, the pathway for women leaders in NCAA athletics, what are your thoughts on that?
The pathway for women is really about connections and building relationships.
And what about mentors?
Mentors are the foundation to your mentors are the foundation to your career in athletics.
Yes, ma'am. And in athletics, we work a lot. Those of us who have families, what do you believe work-life balance should be in college athletics?
Work-life balance, that foundation is going to be communication. Without communication, you're going to struggle trying to balance both family, mom, wife, all of that in one mix while trying to be here for our student athletes.
Yes, ma'am. These topics and more on From the AD's View. Let's get it. Welcome back. Before we bring back our guest, Mrs. Dionne Mccollum, I'd like to give honor to God for who, without him, none of the things that I do would be possible. Being a husband, being a father, being a career professional, none of those things would be possible. So now let's bring back Mrs. Dionne Mccollum. Miss McCollum is a former associate head coach at Mary Grove College. She's a former district-wide AD at the District of Columbia Public Schools. She is the former director of athletics of Delta College, and currently Mrs. McCollum sits and serves as the associate AD and the director of compliance for Claflin University. Miss Dionne, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
Yes, ma'am. And Miss Dionne, you may not know this, and we didn't get a chance to talk in the green room. Um, this show started because I met a young man by the name of Leon Thomas. He's our producer of the Leon Thomas Group. And I met him because I said on my LinkedIn page where you and I met on my LinkedIn page that, I just want to give honor to God for the career opportunity that I just had when I was the AD at a 2-year school in Illinois. So the running joke in our LTG family is that LinkedIn is God's social media page, right? Because there's so many blessings that happen because, you and I did not have any kind of connection with one another, right? I think that either I commented on something that I saw with on your page or vice versa, right? And now we have an opportunity as professionals, as people of faith to connect, right? And that's a great thing. But can you tell some of the viewers, Miss Dionne, a little bit? I mean, I read some of your bio to everyone, but can you just give us a little synopsis of Miss Dionne Mccollum, please?
Well, Dionne Mccollum is a native of Detroit, Michigan. I have a lot of older brothers that made me the special child, I would say, as the youngest and the only girl. But I'm blessed to be married to Dominic McCollum. We were high school sweethearts and went on with our life and found each other again. So, God brought us back together. We now have 3 beautiful children, and he is my support system. I coached for 12 years from junior college to Division II, Elizabeth City State, my alma mater, Kentucky State University. And that all has led me to my journey to athletic administration. And, God gave me a vision of maybe I should be doing more and affecting more lives. And that's why I call myself the Impact AD, because I want to impact as many student athletes and using athletics as a tool to change lives. So that's me.
And that is admirable. And one thing that I'm a girl dad, right? 5 children. The baby is my girl, and she's the boss. But it is admirable to to see, and as I went through your bio, Ms. Dionne, that you know there are many strong women out there in athletics that are doing the job in a world where it is primarily men, right? No secret, primarily our counterparts are men, are Caucasian men, right?
Mhm.
That are in this. But what is the pathway for women in leadership roles in NCAA athletics?
I think the biggest pathway is one, mentors, two, communication, and professional organizations. There are organizations such as Women Leaders in Sports, formerly Women Leaders in College Sports,
Hmm.
and the women's field is growing so much. They just changed it to Women Leaders in Sports because women are now taking that path from NCAA to the professional ranks as well. And women are starting their own businesses and consulting businesses and working for, USA Olympic teams, So professional organizations are where you meet your counterparts. They're where you meet people with the same passion, the same drive, and they have them out there in so many realms, from Women Leaders in Sports to MOA, which is the Minority Organization for Athletic Administrators, from compliance, which I do. We have the NAC organization, and there's NACTA, and there's N4A. So there's so many professional organizations you can join that you can find a match, you can find a mentor, you can find individuals that same hunger you have, that you get to grow. Like we grew up with our best friends, and your best friends, y'all might not have that same passion in life. So then I always say we have a best friend that's a professional best friend that we met along this road, along this journey, that understand the struggle of a woman or a minority woman. My president here at Claflin makes a statement that we're standing on the shoulders of giants.
Hmm.
Those professional organizations get to put you in the same room with Alfreda Goff, with the Dorita Dawkins, with the Renee Miles Payne, and say, Dr. Kiki Barnes, I sat in a room with her while she honored the queens of minority women who are being honored by the NCAA or by women leaders, So I think you grow on this path by meeting these women, by seeing that they didn't fail when it got a little hard or they didn't give up. And that's how you keep going down that journey.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Miss Alfreda Golf, and I call her Mama Golf,
Mama Goff.
because Anton and I,
Mhm.
he's at Prairie View A&M now down in Houston, are close friends, and he's a mentor for me. And one time during NACTA back in, I believe, 2011, when it was in Dallas, Texas,
Mhm.
I had an opportunity to meet Mama Golf in person. And the thing that she said to me was so profound. She was just like, and you know how she is. She's like, honey, what is it that you want to do? What do you want to do? I know you like athletics and you like being around the young people, but what is it that you want to do? And I
Mhm.
just said to her, well, Mrs. Golf, I want to be a Power Five athletic director, right? I want to work in athletics uh, to that extent because I've seen the Eugene Smiths, and Craig Littlepage is a mentor of mine, and Stan Wilcox is a mentor of mine. I
Okay.
want to
Okay.
do what they do, both respectively. One retired at from Virginia, University of Virginia, and one moved on from Florida State and now is in the NCAA, running their programs in Indianapolis. But you were so right. Those women that you mentioned are women that you are absolutely standing on their shoulders, right? And
Mhm.
then the ones that are coming behind you that you're mentoring, your student athletes there now going to be GAs, then go to be assistant coaches and coaches. Those are the ones that you are going to mentor. You know what? And you don't have to speak about their name if you don't want to, but what have your mentors meant to you?
My mentors are everything. They are my world. I remember as a student at Kentucky State, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I was in school for athletic training and physical education. And my senior year, Dorita Dawkins walked in and we met in her office and we had a chance to talk. And I'll never forget that first meeting. I'll never forget The feeling of having a woman sit right in front of you that is assertive and strong, but in the same sense, she was comforting and warm and gave you that mom feeling. And as a student from Detroit in Kentucky, away from home, it was really, really special to find a woman like that in my life. And then when I wanted to get into coaching, Dorita introduced me to Michelle Clark Hurd, and she became a mentor for me for coaching, and she became the individual that I wanted to aspire to be, and that's who those women have been to me. So getting into administration again, I have to really fall back to Dr. Kiki Barnes. I met when I was coaching, and we had the coaching convention in New Orleans. So Renee Malpain at Fort Valley now. We met when she was at Miami, and she's like, I've been able to talk to her and say the struggle of being a mom, the struggle of mom guilt when you have to travel, and they give you that extra push to keep going, that extra nudge to say you're not about to give up. Like,
Right.
we are your shoulders, we are who you fall back on. And I've just been blessed to have that many women in my life, and the list can go on because every convention I meet someone new. Every meetup or CIAA tournament, you meet someone new and they're change makers. And sometimes it's one conversation. I sat next to Mama Golf in New Orleans this year for dinner, and we were doing rock, paper, scissors to who get to have a seat next to her,
Right.
and I got it, and it meant something. Now I can text her and say, Mama Golf, I'm struggling with, going to an NCAA convention for 8 days, and my babies are 7, 5, and 3. But she's like, look, you know where my son at now? They're watching, they understand. And that's the type of mentorship you need. That's not only, feeding you work wise, they're feeding you spiritually, they're feeding you as an individual. And that's how I've been able to still say, I love what I do and I want to keep growing wherever God takes me. Through them, I'll get there.
Absolutely. And before we go to break, I'm gonna switch it on you and see and get your thoughts. Over the last week, we've had the NCAA come out with new legislation on NIL, put together some protections for student athletes, right? And I know there are different levels of NIL. You have FBS, you have FCS, and then we have to recognize that we have HBCU, right? Because it's all different. What are your thoughts as the director of compliance with the new legislations that have come through from the NCAA?
I think the biggest thing in compliance is you try to teach the student athletes, don't just run and don't just jump. You want them to understand financial literacy. You want them to understand how to now take this opportunity and grow from it and not fall negatively into a field. I have all this money with no guidance. So I think the protections are there for a reason. I think as this grows, there'll be more protections put into place. But ultimately, it starts with our student athletes and giving them a foundation of financial literacy, what it means to be in this business. Because now this is a business, what it means to be in this business and how not to fail by getting this large amount as a young child who may not have that foundation of support or guidance when they get such a large amount of money. But also trying to keep the love for the game there. I can't let my athletes see the money and forget why they're here and the love for the game that ultimately brought you here in this opportunity.
And the matriculation towards a degree, right?
Yes, sir.
Because we have graduation rates that we have to deal with. We have APR, we have GSR that we have to deal with, and
Claflin University is thriving. Thriving.
Absolutely. And a lot of times, when you look at like the federal graduation rate, it says in one of those tenets to get that academic unit money, that the athletics department has to be 13% higher than the overall student population there. And so when and as you just said that they're thriving, then that's kudos to you and your director of athletics and your department and those that work with you, that you are reaching those goals, right? Because there's no money tree behind Claflin University in South Carolina. that you can go pluck some money off of, right?
No, sir. No, sir.
So
No,
we
sir.
have to grind and get it in the classroom, and the student athletes have to get it right. And then those, even with the portal coming, it's difficult sometimes to get that 90% graduation rate, because if someone plays well at Claflin, right, and then somebody comes from FBS or FCS and grabs them away because they have a bag of money in terms of NIL, is difficult to keep them. But I'm glad that you are thriving in that regard. Ms. Dionne, stay with me, right? Because I have to go to a quick break, and we have another topic that we're going to discuss when we get back.
Yes, sir.
You are watching From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. We'll be right back after this break.
Renting is everything. It's style at your doorstep, off the runway and into your closet. It's every trend you've been dying to try and every designer you've yet to discover. It's wearing it your way every time and making it count everywhere you go. It's never worrying about what to wear, because something new is always coming your way. That's why renting is everything. New styles, top designers, all for a flat monthly fee. Start your subscription at renttherunway.com.
Slow roasted over hickory fire and pulled by hand. This is the way pit pork has always been done. Pulled pork lovers, rejoice. The smoky old days are back at the Smoke Shack. From the creative team that brought you the Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
Water. It's everywhere. We drink it, we bathe with it, we cook with it. Coffee's made with water. Toilets won't flush without it. It's used for washing clothes, dishes, utensils, pots, pans, floors, and our teeth. Plants and crops need water, animals drink it, and fish need it too. And don't forget, we can have a lot of fun in the water. Water. What would we do without it?
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
Welcome back. You're watching From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. And before we get back to our special guest, I want to talk to you all a little bit about my new book, How Black Men Overcome Racial Barriers and the Status Quo. It's in NCAA institutions. It's a narrative inquiry. People often ask me, Dr. Brown, why did you write the book? Was it from, some type of experience that you had, positive or negative? And I often say, no, it wasn't an experience that I had. It was a journey that I was trying to attain. And the focus of the book is just, to have a better understanding of how men of color that aspire to sit in the chair, as we call it, what that journey looked like. And a lot of it is what we're talking about on the show today, is mentorship. And understanding how African-American men achieve leadership roles in Power Five institutions was important to me because I was at that time going to the journey to get to where I'm at now and trying to ascend to where I want to be. So the three themes that came out of that were the benefits of role models, and we'll continue to talk about that with our guest. The role model expectations of the mentee, and then those perceived barriers, right? Perceived racial barriers, whether they were real or perceived, or things that we talk about in the book. But it's a great read. Go to Amazon.com to purchase the book. And if you have any questions, you can get in contact with me on my website at cedricmbrown.org. There you can see past episodes of From the AD's View. If you'd like to learn more about professional services that I provide, also go to cmbrown.org for more information on that. And finally, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, again, go to cmbrown.org, email me there, and then we can talk about it, because I'd love to get more open and honest views from individuals out there in the profession. And hopefully what we give, the nuggets that we give, can help others. And From the 80s View is on Sunday evenings at 6:40 Central, 7:40 Eastern. And again, we just want to be able to give you an open and honest view of what's going on in the world of sports, education, entertainment, family, and faith. And then if you like to see these episodes, you can go to my YouTube channel at Dr. Cedric M. Brown. But let's bring back our special guest, Mrs. Dionne Mccollum. She is the Associate Athletic Director and the Director of Compliance at Claflin University. Welcome back, Ms. Dionne.
Thank you.
We were just talking about a few topics, NIL, talking about mentorship and things like that. But you had mentioned, Ms. Dionne, that your family is obviously a big part of your life, a supportive spouse, and raising three beautiful children. What is the work-life balance for you, and how did mentors help you through that particular part?
It starts with communication. It was easier because my husband was an athlete. He played football at Eastern Michigan and Joliet Community College. So he understands the hours, the demands. Being the athletic at Delta College, being a small staff of one at times and two at most, there was an opportunity for me to have my children at work. If he work late at night, they're there on weekends. The athletes love them. And it's been that same way here. Is you have to find the right fit in athletics. And that right fit comes with a village. And the athletes are your village, your coworkers are your village, the bonds you make. I was blessed to have a family that supported my mother, that supported my father, that were at our athletic events. I can remember my grandparents sitting in the gym when I was in high school, so I grew up with a foundation of a village. So I have now moving from state to state with my family. I can't move my whole family and uproot them. So my village is my coworkers, and that's my fit. So work-life balance comes with having a boss who my kids call Uncle T.O., and another associate AD is Auntie Matisse, Auntie Miss Lee, so my kids can run around the gym and feel safe, as well as my husband comes to the games and he's yelling louder than any other fan because with his own connections, because as I'm invested, they are invested too. And that makes my work-life balance a lot more stronger, and it makes me feel blessed to be able to do my career. My mentors, Dr. Kiki Barnes, has a husband that I watched her support through his doctoral program, and that her kids are so successful, and now she's a commissioner. So she never had to give up on her dream to be a mother or to be a wife. And, I see Miss Rita Dawkins. Now she is married and she is happy, but still thriving in her career.
Absolutely.
When you see those women, you see Mama Golf and now Anton pretty much following her footsteps in a way.
Absolutely.
It gives you the confidence to say, I can do this while doing it all. Now, women are strong. We're built strong from birth and how to be every role you're supposed to be. But nothing says you got to sacrifice your career to continue to be what you're supposed to be, So the women that for me are doing it, and I hope I am setting an example for those to come after me.
Yes, ma'am. And that's so beautifully stated, Miss Dionne. I'm a flip the script on you a little bit, and I'm a go to something that is probably near and dear to your heart, Miss Dionne. What about them Detroit Lions?
Baby, hand me my sweater. Please hand me my sweater. Listen, this is my attire, for game day today. We had to bring it out because my boys are going to do it. Get out the camera now. That's my baby. But
yes, ma'am.
We're
It is
going
a family
to represent
show
during our Winston-Salem game because I believe in my boys. And now I am 40 going on 41, so I was 10 years old the last time the Lions went to the playoffs, and my mother is a fan. I started the game Sunday. I put on my dad's sweater, so I'm like, Dad, if you was here,
wow.
Saw the video of the man crying and the story behind it. His father had built Ford Field. I think that was a feeling for a lot of us because my father was a diehard Lions fan, even from Tennessee. He was a Lions fan, and to have been able to share that moment with him would have been something amazing. But I had my babies in their Lions gear and my husband in his Lions gear. I'm on the phone with my mom back in Detroit. My church is in downtown Detroit, Second Baptist on the corner of Greektown. So they're out there selling hot chocolate and hot dogs. People headed to the game. So when I say this is my family, it is invested. The babies, you could say they brainwashed, but they know when the Lions come on, all that I want to hear is touchdown in my house. So
right.
Near and dear for sure.
So, you talked about the history of that and the lineage of that. What does that mean to the city of Detroit, Ms. Dionne? I mean, because I'm sure that you have been in contact with your family, your friends back in Detroit as the Lions have methodically built it into what it is right now. Took a coach that played the game, that loves the game, loves the players. What does it mean to the city of Detroit?
I think it's everything. It's everything that we needed. Because the thing about Detroit is we're diehard, we're ride or die. We don't jump ship. We're always saying, don't jump on our ship now. It's bad luck. We talk about the curse of the Lions that leads back and, watching them go on the field last year and supposedly break the curse. And then now we're having this season, as a true Detroiter, it means everything to be able to watch my brother with his Instagram story live in the arena and breaking the decimal meter for the sound in the arena, to watch my friends downtown tailgating and to see the joy. If this is our year, if we do see a Super Bowl or we don't, it has affected our city. I think Detroit has had the lowest homicide rate this year that we've had in years. So athletics, we always say, plays a part, but you see that impact on our city right now, and you see it coming to life. You didn't see downtown Detroit being trashed after they won. You saw celebrations and respect for the city. And,
Absolutely.
As the culture changed and gentrification happens, the true Detroiters who grew up in there, blood, sweat, and tears, rather east side, west side, it is a blessing, and to grow up in downtown Detroit, generations in Second Baptist, to see my mom outside as the fans go by, and she going home to watch the game. She don't need all the noise, but it means a lot. And, and I hope we can keep it going. And Dan Campbell being on that 0-16 team and then leading them here, again, it's history. And, I know I can't put into words, even though I can't stop talking about it.
That's okay. and I knew going into the show, you know, and looking at your background, that I was going to throw that in, and then to see the look on your face and how, you know, you pepped up and things like that. You know, I'm a Giants fan, so I do feel your pain, although we've won, you know, a few championships and things like that, you know, in the last 20 years or so. But I do understand, and it does mean a lot, right? Because when your Detroit Lions are doing well economically, your city does well, right? Money is being spread around. People are coming to the city. Chamber of Commerce is probably doing well because hotels are being filled, and you know, restaurants are you know are being visited and things like that. So I just wanted to give you a little time to show a little love for
we just
Detroit
setting the
City.
stage for the draft. You know, they got to keep seeing it. Y'all want to keep coming back.
Right. And there, I know that there's been challenges for women and particularly women of color in our business, right? This multi-billion-dollar business that we have. What are some of the challenges that you faced, real quickly, before we close the show?
I've gone through. I've had death threats. I've had people attack my jobs just because I was doing too well. And I don't think, as a Black woman in the realm I was in, I was supposed to be successful or supposed to stand out or shine. And my mom or father did not raise me to be that way. So the determination I have, again, my mentors and the support that's been around me has always shown me that I will not be broken. I may get knocked down. You may fall. But as a Black woman, you know, we're overcomers. We are trendsetters, and we set the code. As I say, we are the standard.
Yes,
so even with, you know, hatred, other people's heart doesn't have to carry that hatred with me. Even if, you know, everyone's trying to get to this goal and not everyone has the right leaders to help you and do or reach those goals in the right way. We don't stop climbing, you know, we keep going. And that's why I'm here to be here. I have an HBCU foundation. I've worked at PWIs, and I will thrive no matter where I am. And that's the mentality we will have.
Yes, ma'am. And my final question, as I ask every guest before we close, Ms. Dionne, what does faith or spiritualness or spirituality mean to you?
It is my foundation. My grandmother and grandfather used to always discuss it, you know, growing up in Second Baptist Church. It was again my foundation. So as I got older, and I say high school wise, Matthew 17:20 stuck with me and has been with me ever since. And having the faith of a mustard seed then carried on to having faith over fear. So my faith is my foundation. It is my family foundation. It's what we are rooted in. And I am blessed to, again, be where I am off of that faith and the foundation that was instilled in me through my family.
Yeah, absolutely, because God didn't create us to be fearful, right?
No, sir.
The trust in Him is all we need.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Dionne, if someone wants to get in contact with you and talk to you about the different things that we've discussed on the show today, how can they contact you?
You can reach me at my email is Dionne Mccollum at claflin.edu. I am also on LinkedIn as Dionne Mccollum. I am on Twitter at Dionne Mccollum, the Impact AD. Instagram, I'm on all the social media platforms. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Ms. Dionne, I really, really appreciate you. And my viewers and myself are blessed for having you on the show this evening, and you dropping some nuggets on us. And those of you that don't have an NFL team, help her in spirit to root on them Detroit Lions so that they can fulfill a city's dream.
Yes.
But Ms. Dionne, I really, really thank you for being on the show. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me. It was an honor.
And as I close the show, the things that are important to athletics administrators are that we are, just as our guest said, that we are mentors, that we are someone that give back and that we're servant leaders. So as you, if you're watching the show this evening, as you think about how you approach your job and what the mission of your job is, just think about these two things: student success and the overall experience of the student athlete. And if you get those two into your foundation, you'll always be successful. You are watching From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. Good night and God bless.